defeat would be devastating because, you know, not only is the beef between me and Conor real and something that I wouldn't be able to stand, you know, the defeat of on a personal level. I have to uphold my father's legacy. We're letting him down would probably hurt even more.
You get done in 3 rounds.
No, good.
3 rounds. Put your money on it.
You smell
Put your
good.
money on it.
If you watch that fight, you're watching a man being killed. This is a very dangerous book.
The rivalry between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is heating up as a rematch gets closer. Both fighters are fully focused. One wants to take the title, and the other is fighting hard to defend it and prove he is a stronger man in the ring.
Conor Benn. I've always been a massive fan of Conor Benn. It's not been a secret. Conor Benn, I think he was one of the most fast.
The tension around the Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch goes far beyond a normal boxing fight. This match feels dangerous because of what happened last time. In their first fight, Chris Eubank Jr. took a serious beating and spent 2 nights and 3 days in the hospital. He has not forgotten that experience. Now, as he prepares for the rematch, his camp says he is already suffering from dehydration. It is affecting his health and making the situation more risky. This shows how tough and dangerous boxing can be, especially when a fighter pushes his body beyond its limits.
Here to box, it's because I was fearful of what they are doing to him right now. If you watch that fight, you're watching a man being killed. This is a very dangerous vocation. After the last fight, I was in the hospital with Junior 2 nights and 3 days. I saw where his life...
Even with these challenges, Chris Eubank Jr. says he feels confident. He claims he feels no pressure going into the fight and believes all the pressure is on Conor Benn. Eubank says he will stay calm, follow his game plan, and let Benn prove himself. This mindset gives Eubank a mental edge. He is not distracted by hype. He knows his strengths and understands the psychological game of boxing. By saying the pressure is on Benn, he is showing confidence and also planting doubt in his opponent's mind. But despite his strong mindset, the dehydration problem is still a bit concerning and could affect his performance.
Is here. How does your demeanor, your mentality change as we tick closer to fight night?
Fight week is easy. The hard work's done. The training, the sacrifice, it's all over. Now it's just about maintaining. Now it's just about kind of resting and getting yourself ready physically and mentally for Saturday. I'm ready.
When does that mentality shift? When does that click happen?
I mean, the click is, I guess, the last intense spar, which was Saturday. After that, you know, all right, camp is done. Now we just got to make the weight.
Mind games. Conor has admitted that you got in his head. Are you setting any traps that you're hoping Conor might fall into again?
If I am, I'm not telling anybody about it.
Do you think he's trying to play any games by being nicer?
Yeah, he's playing himself. People know who he is and what he's about. People see through the act. He's not a nice guy. He's not a calm guy. He doesn't like me. It's all a facade. It's all a defense mechanism. And it's not working for him.
We've just had the first face-off. Conor looked away first. Do you take anything from that?
He's looked away first every time we've ever looked at each other. He knows what's coming.
What's going through your mind when you're looking at him?
I'm calm. I'm at peace with whatever happens. I don't have anything to prove. The pressure's on him, not me. I mean, there's pressure on me, but nothing like what he's experiencing right now.
Conor Benn, while speaking with Carl Frock, talks about his journey from the first fight to the rematch. He says he gave everything he had in their first meeting, and he is not carrying any disappointment from that fight. His attitude shows maturity. Instead of thinking about what went wrong, He is focused only on preparing for the rematch. This positive mindset helps him train better and stay mentally sharp. He sees the last fight as a lesson, not a failure, and that approach makes his rematch even more interesting, especially with the history between the Eubank and Benn families.
You now have got some respect for him, but to go back in there now for a second time...
Listen, I done the best I could on the night. I done the best I could.
Yeah.
You know, it was my first fight back in the UK in 13 months. My first fight at 160. It was my second 12-rounder. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I sit there and I go, listen, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
I'd rather lose an exciting fight than win a boring fight.
Yeah. But what I'm saying in now, in the rematch...
yeah, listen. As long as I do the best I can.
Yeah.
As long as I do the best I can.
Absolutely.
Which is, I believe I do a number on him. That's me just staying disciplined. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Why I was disappointed and upset weren't because I lost. It's because I beat myself in there.
Yeah.
By not following tactics, by not fighting with my head, fought with my emotions. So I'm in there and it's just, I wasn't happy with what I done. If I can go in there and I'll be disciplined and do what I do and he beats me to the punch or he comes up with a recipe that can be fair enough, no problem.
Yeah.
Listen, I ain't going to be no sore loser.
So if you lose fair and square and you've
You
given your
lose fair and
best
square,
shot.
well done, Chris. You're the better fighter. Give away even me giving away the weight. I ain't going to sit down there and go, oh no, that was my first fight back 13 months,
cool.
Chris. That was my first fight at 160. You won't hear me make up no excuses.
No.
I still thought I'd render you unconscious within 3 rounds. That was what I genuinely believed.
Yeah. You've nicked that line off me, haven't you?
Is
You
it?
love the
Have I?
render. You love the render unconscious.
Have you said that before? I wouldn't know.
Only a couple of times. What was going through your head when you saw Chris and Eddie Hearn at the press conference going back and forth at each other?
It's funny.
You sit there to laugh at it, or do you?
No, it's funny. It's funny because I'm sitting there going, Ed, why are you arguing with him? Why are you lowering yourself to his level? There's no need.
Don't you like Eddie getting a bit of stick, or do you like?
No, there's just no need. Let him just waffle on. Let him dig his own grave.
He bit though, didn't he, Eddie? He had a little. He had a
Because
go
he
back.
but to be fair, when you're accusing a big...
Chris Eubank Sr. was once a strong critic of the first fight between his son and Conor Benn, but now he has become one of his son's biggest supporters. Some people say he is being hypocritical, but it also shows how a parent's emotions can change. When his son won the first fight, his outlook changed from criticizing to defending his son proudly. This shift is common in sports families, where personal loyalty often clashes with public opinion.
First time, and for the rematch back in 2022, you claimed promoters were trying to murder your son, Chris Eubank Jr., regarding the weight clause. You called your son a disgrace for slapping an egg in Conor's face earlier this year. In spite of all this, you surprised many in April by turning up, and you were in Junior's corner. What would you say to people who'd suggest that Chris Eubank Sr., you're something of a hypocrite?
It's easily explained, so let me start. Within every individual, there are 2 entities. There is the ego, or the negative, and there is the good, or the super consciousness, or the God consciousness. Those 2 entities are within the one. I would have bet money that the fight wasn't going to happen. When he slapped the egg into the face of this young man in the face of Conor, I didn't bring him up like this. You're representing my name. I've worked hard to keep these statutes and so these standards. And so I was very, very disappointed. And as you would have seen, and as the public saw, I was not turning up to that fight, but that was my ego. Remember, within the one person, you have 2 entities. Now, because I've submitted to the superconscious, or the God mind, or the good mind, because I've submitted, it always wins. And so effectively, it set me...
Dehydration has become a major talking point in Eubank Jr.'s preparation. At 36 years old, his body cannot adapt like a young fighter's body can. Cutting weight for this fight is dangerous for him. Critics say he is risking his long-term health just for money. Dehydration affects stamina, reaction time, focus, and increases the chance of injury. For an older fighter, these risks are even higher. Eubank's decision to keep going despite these dangers shows how brutal and high-pressure professional boxing can be. Behind the excitement, fighters face real physical danger.
The limit on the day, I think the limit was 170 and I came in like 169.7 or 0.4. So yeah, I had to watch what I was eating, watch what I was drinking. Couldn't fully hydrate, and we made the weight, and I didn't get fined another $500,000.
Will you allow Eddie Hearn to speak on Thursday?
What do you think?
My guess is no.
It's a good.
Nigel Benn explains that Chris Eubank Jr. is dehydrated because of the strict rehydration rule. Eubank had to lose a lot of weight to make the limit, but he is not allowed to gain it back fully before the fight. This has made him weak. Nigel says this rule gives Conor Benn an advantage because he naturally weighs less and does not need to cut as much weight. He believes the situation is unfair and dangerous for Eubank, who is risking his health with extreme dieting and limited recovery time.
Where he could put on 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Did he put on 10 pounds? No, he put on 8 pounds.
That's fascinating.
So why were you all saying that, oh, well, he's struggling to make the weight? If you're going to put weight on, you're going to put that 10 pounds on. He wasn't struggling to make weight. He's been doing, and you know what? Because the reason why, they never said it all through all of these fights. But because he's fighting Conor Benn at welterweight, oh, look, he's struggling to make, oh, he's going to find... Load of rubbish. Load of rubbish.
That's a fascinating insight. I never ever knew that. That's definitely a question for him if I forget to ask him why he didn't put on 10.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then you can ask him when you see him. But you know what I mean? But it's just like I always look for the sympathy, folk. Going to the hospital, my toenail coming up. We're stopping him from getting there. And you heard me, if you watch on TalkSport today, he was in the hospital before me and Conor. Then when me and Conor come, 50 yards away was Chris Eubank and Chris Sr. So we were there. He was there before we got there. So what's a sympathy vote again? It's not washing. Washing.
Do you think it's part of the whole drama, that like the whole character of the Eubanks?
Listen, that's right. Can you see there's always drama on that side, never on us. We don't say nothing. We prepare for the fight and that's it. We ain't saying like, it's about him putting on 10 extra pounds. No one ain't thought about Conor moving up 2 weights to fight.
Recovery is another important issue for Eubank Jr. Even though he has healed from his injuries, age slows down the recovery process. Years of fighting have taken a toll on his body. Fans are worried because Eubank is older, while Conor Benn is only 29 and has a fresher, stronger body. Age affects everything in boxing: stamina, reflexes, recovery, and overall toughness. Eubank has experience, which helps him think and fight smart. But his body is more vulnerable compared to a younger fighter.
Jr. and Conor Benn was scheduled for the 8th of October 2022, and they had agreed to a weigh-in weight of 157 pounds with a 10-pound rehydration clause on the morning of the fight, meaning they couldn't weigh more than 167 pounds on the morning of the fight. I have to say to you that is absolutely insane that Eubank Jr. ever agreed to this. Eubank Jr. is 36 years old now, and so 4 years ago he would have been 32. I understand that would have been a bit easier at that point in his life, but for him to make a weight like that, when he's fought as high as 168 pounds in his career, he's clearly quite a big 160 pounder, even though I do feel that is the correct weight division for him, or has been. To agree to fight 157 pounds is incredibly dangerous. And just to give you the full understanding of what that number means to Eubank Jr., his father said before the fight that actually happened between him and Conor Benn.
Why is it that you feel so strongly that this fight won't happen?
Why? Because my son, who is walking around now at probably 180 pounds, will have to boil himself down to 160.
Knowing this makes that weight seem absolutely crazy. Now look, that fight got cancelled, and I'd say lucky that it did, because I don't think that weight was right, and things that unfolded after that told us that weight was actually dangerous for Eubank to be making. And despite the fight being cancelled, he basically made the weight. On the morning of the fight, he created a video that showed us he was only a couple of pounds over the weigh-in weight. I can only assume he did this to make a point, to show that he was disciplined in the wake of Conor Benn's failed drugs tests. But the impact it took on his body was significant, as he then went in there only a few months later against Liam Smith in January of 2023.
The last element in this high-tension fight is Conor Benn's performance. Even though he is younger, he still has to match Eubank Jr.'s preparation and toughness. Benn must perform at his absolute best because Eubank set a strong standard in their first fight. To win again, Benn needs physical strength, smart strategy, mental focus, and the ability to handle pressure. If he wins this rematch, it will prove his talent and secure a position as one of the top fighters in the division.
Time and energy and effort. This takes a lot of people putting their heads together to book venues, everything was locked in. Then Eubank apparently goes, nah, I'm not going to fight so soon because that's when you want to fight. Bullshit, my guy. You don't mess around all of those people just for the sake of trying to piss your opponent off. There's no way. I think there's a few things. He took a big fucking beating in the last fight. He was really in a bad way, actually. The recovery of that would have taken a while. Then, you know, after such a grueling fight, do you want to get in the gym and push yourself to such a degree, or do you want to give yourself an extra couple of months just to rest? And then he also loves the fucking poker, and he loves going away in Vegas and all of this shit. Have a bit of fun. And he's never been someone who's wanting to fight all the time. This whole, I'm a driven fighter and I love winning and that. Yeah, he obviously wants to win fights, but Eubank's never been the guy who fights because he loves the fighting. He loves the lifestyle it provides him with. And I think it says a lot that Conor Benn was keen to get in there sooner rather than later, and it was Eubank who pushed it back.
I'll fight you right now.
I'm ready for Sep 2020.
But I was ready for whenever. I'll fight you now.
This kid wants to fight Sep 2020th, so you know what? We're not going to do it.
Again, Eubank is lying. And he's lied quite a lot already. We've fucking been watching it 2 minutes. And I don't mind it, by the way. You're trying to win a war of words, but it's clear that he is happy to hide the truth in order